Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about some legislation in Tennessee that appears to be headed to the governor's desk for a signature. We're going to talk about that legislation. We're going to talk about what's in it. We're going to talk about how it's going to impact the average person in Tennessee. We're going to answer a question that apparently the people behind this legislation believe is unanswerable. And we're just going to kind of go from there. So, what's the legislation? Criminalizes homelessness. I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but that's what it does. That's not how it attempts to achieve it, but that's the effect. It goes about making camping on local public property a felony, punishable by up to 6 years in prison. It's worth noting that state land is already treated in this fashion. Up until 2020, it was just a misdemeanor, but Tennessee had demonstrations against racial injustice, and rather than address the problem, they just decided to criminalize, make it a felony, so those people wouldn't be able to vote anymore. On top of this, it makes it a misdemeanor to ask for change or to camp alongside highways or under the bridge. You know, I was just thinking to myself that the way you get people out of the situation where they're having to ask for change is to give them an economic penalty, a fine that you know they can't pay. That more than likely will put them in a cycle that will lead to them being incarcerated. One of the supporters behind the legislation says, "I don't have the answer for homelessness. Those that oppose this legislation, they don't have all the answers for homelessness. Those that support this legislation, they don't have all the answers for homelessness." Right, nobody knows. I got it. Let's just take it step by step. The problem is in the name, homelessness. Okay, people don't have a home. They don't have a place to reside. They don't have a way to stay somewhere out of the weather and kind of get back on their feet. That's the problem. The solution would be to provide that. Call me, And then if you wanted to actually address it at a deeper level, while you're providing them a place to stay, you could address the underlying issues, rehab, mental health care, job assistance, so on and so forth. And you could actually move to eliminate the problem. Or I guess you could just arrest them and throw them in jail for up to 6 years. I mean, that's also a choice. The interesting thing about this is that the solution is to house them. Okay, that's the solution. And this legislation, it kind of gets you there. The question is whether or not Tennesseans want to pay to house them in a humane way that actually solves the problem, or wants to pay for them to get locked up. I would point out that locking them up is more expensive and less productive. I would go with, a more social approach to this problem. But the thing is, this isn't about solving the problem, is it? It's really about these politicians finding a group of people that they can target with legislation to make their base feel better about the situation that they find themselves in, so they can look down and kick down on those people. Those people are the enemy. Those people who have nothing. If you are in Tennessee and you are a voter, allow me to just help you with this. Those people with less institutional power than you have, less money, less resources, less everything than you have, are never the source of your problem. You're looking the wrong direction. Stop looking under the bridge and start looking up at that Capitol. That's where your issue lies. This is going to end up housing them anyway, but it's going to end up housing them in a way that doesn't help them, doesn't help you, doesn't help the state, and costs more. As is typically the case, it's cheaper to be a good person. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.